Hey, welcome back, comic fans. Mr. Q Comics back with another haul video here. This is going to be a pretty big stack from one of my local shops. I hit him up a few weeks in a row, so it's everything combined here. I put some stuff, had him hold it for me. Then the credit card machine was down 1 week, so I kind of picked up three weeks worth, at one shot. So I got some dollar bin books I'll show off, and we got a lot of, pretty good, good deals on some Bronze Age keys and some Silver Age stuff in here as well. Before I dive in, big thank you to all my subscribers, everyone who's been following along with the channel. I hit 300 subs recently, so thank you so much. Never thought I'd actually get that much interest of people watching me, ramble on about my comic books. But big thank you to everyone who is checking out the content. If you're new, please subscribe. Like the video here if you're into comic book hauls. I like to show off a lot of vintage stuff. So, also want to give a quick shout out to Nighttiger Comics. I just watched your Labor Day flea market haul. Fantastic pickups there. And thank you so much for the shout out at the beginning of the video. If you guys aren't watching Nighttiger Comics, you absolutely have to be. I love his content. Super passionate collector. And always super informative with the books he's showing off. Definitely informative for me as a collector who's just kind of gotten back into the hobby after a significant break. I've been back in the books for about 4 years now. And I get a lot of great info listening to Nighttiger go through his books, especially with the Golden Age stuff, which I really am not that knowledgeable about. So check out his channel. I will put a link in the description below. Thanks again, man. The support is much appreciated. So, all right, with that said, let's jump into the books. Dollar bin stuff. I had to get this. 80s nostalgia for me. Krull, the movie special, Krull #1. It's a photo cover, David Michelinie's story, Brett Blevins' art. It's from November of '83. It's mid-grade, but for me, this movie, I just remember it being on HBO all the time as a kid. One of those cheesy movies that every time you put it on HBO, or HBO 2, there was only 2 HBOs, I think, back then. It just was always on. So I don't know how many times I saw this thing, one of those really cheesy 80s sci-fi movies. And I'm a sucker for 80s nostalgia. So that was absolutely coming home. All right, a nice stack of Wolverine graphic novels from the 80s and early 90s here. This is the Wolverine saga. I got all 4. This is just kind of a text, it's not a traditional comic here. It's just kind of like a text story of the history of Wolverine. So 4 different covers or cover artists. Liefeld on book 1. These are all really sharp, near mid-range, so happy to find these. This is Jackson Guici. I'm not sure how to say it. I'm butchering it. On cover 2, which I really like. Book 3 is John Romita Jr. And my favorite is book 4, which is Mike Kaluta. I just dig the, patch surrounded by all the beautiful ladies here. Great stuff. So I kind of thought they were like actual, stories, comic stories. And when I open it up, I'm like, oh, it's kind of a text summary of, all of Wolverine's history. So I really haven't given a read on these, but was interested in reading this, Wolverine Bloodlust. I've always loved this, this cover. Fantastic cover. It's Alan Davis story cover and art from December of '90, Wolverine Bloodlust. So this is one I definitely will be reading. And I always see all of these, prestige format books from the '90s here priced pretty. Most of these books I see $5 or more at shops, so I just never wanted to pay that. So to find them for $1, I was happy with. Also got Wolverine Reign of Terror from Peter David and Andy Kubert. This one's from August of '91. So, all right, that I think rounds out the dollar bin stuff. But we got some good copper, Bronze Age stuff here as well. First one, absolutely one of my favorite covers from my childhood. Punisher War Journal #6. Phenomenal Jim Lee Wolverine cover here. This storyline for me, this issue 6 and 7, this is what got me into Wolverine. I absolutely loved it. It's iconic from this time period. This is Carl Potts on the story, and again, Jim Lee cover and art from June of '89. This one's in near mint condition, and it was $2. This book definitely shot up in value. There's a recent cover tribute on I'm not sure which series from Marvel, but it was a cover tribute to this, and that caused this book to spike. So glad to see this book getting some love. I can't remember what it goes for currently. Excuse me, but I see 9/8 going. I think north of $100. So you know, it's not really a key issue other than the cover, but this is a cover that absolutely deserves to be slabbed, in my opinion. So I may just do that with one or two of mine. So, okay. Also picked up a copy of X-Men 201, which I have. I'm not sure how many I have. One or two more of these. This is the first appearance of Cable as a baby. This is a mid-grade find, a very fine copy, but it was only $5. This shop is great at really fairly priced minor key books when they're not in, you know, pristine condition, and they're not going to be slabbing them. So Chris Claremont on the story, excuse me, Rick Leonardi on the cover and art from January of '86. Okay, for those of you who have watched my channel for a little bit, you know that Spidey is my #1 hero that I follow, and Amazing Spider-Man's my top series that I collect. But I do collect anything related to Spidey, so I dug through some of the Spectacular Spider-Man books and found a couple of nice books. Got issue #9 in beautiful, beautiful condition. It's probably very fine near mint, if not near mint. This one is from August of '77. It's the first White Tiger in comics. I believe his first appearance is in Deadly Hands of Kung Fu, the magazine. I can't remember which issue. It's also Marvel's first character of Hispanic descent. Bill Mantlo on the story, and a gorgeous George Perez cover. And I think it's Sal Buscema on the interiors. So really high grade. And it was like $5. So typically for Spectacular Spider-Man, I'm not buying them unless I'm finding them in the dollar bins. But this was just gorgeous, gorgeous condition. So I picked out a couple of minor keys. That one and 25, both the same price, $5, similar condition. This one's beautiful as well. This is the first Carrion. This is from 1978, Bill Mantlo story, Keith Pollard cover, and Jim Mooney art. So for $5 in this condition, I was definitely happy to pay that for these. And I don't think I have a ton of the Spectacular run. I have a few of the key books that came out in it. You know, the first Frank Miller Daredevil, and I think issue 90 with the black suit. And I don't think there's too much else in there. So, all right, this series has also been hot recently with the San Diego Comic-Con news. Tomb of Dracula #2. They had a nice run with some inexpensive books in there, and I think I showed a couple off in previous videos, like the Second Blade, stuff like that. I don't believe this is a key book, but it's an early issue, and this was like, let's see, $5. It's mid-grade, very good find. It's got some color loss on the edges here. And let's see, this one is Jerry Conway's story, Gene Colan on the interiors, and John Severin cover from May of '72. Also picked up issue #3, which is the first Rachel Van Helsing and Inspector Kelm. Gil Kane cover, Maurice Severin alterations, Archie Goodwin story, and again, Gene Colan art. I love this cover. Of the 3 Tomb of Dracula books I grabbed, this has got to be my favorite cover. This one from July of '72, and this one only $4, and it's mid-grade, probably fine range, but for $4, I see these Tomb of Dracula books $20 plus in most other shops, so happy to find that. I think he put these all out before San Diego Comic-Con. That's why they're all cheap, and I think everything's spiked. So I cherry-picked out the keys here. This is 17, which is when Blade is bitten by Dracula. Again, a Gil Kane cover. This one's Marv Wolfman's story, and again, Gene Colan art. A little bit better shape, but also $4. So psyched to get those. This is not typically a series I would collect, but as I've gotten back into things, I've gotten more interested in the horror genre, and I've read a few of these issues, and I definitely dig the dark themes, and Gene Colan's interiors are really fantastic. There's a lot of fog, there's a lot of darkness in there, and I definitely appreciate that. So, all right, this is another great book. This is an inexpensive, I'll call it a minor key. Any Wolverine fan out there, you should be picking this up. It's Thor 229. This is from November of '74, Ron Wilson cover, Jerry Conway story, Rich Buckler on the interior, but it has an ad for Hulk 181. So obviously for a lot of us, Hulk 181 is out of reach. It's a huge book, hugely expensive. Everyone knows it. You're just not going to find it cheap. 180 has spiked recently in sales and in price. I suspect Comic Tom 101 may have had a little something to do with that, with his another video on the, is 180 really the first appearance, or 181, which is correct, because you get a full panel of them in 180. But so both books are really, really expensive. But this book, you know, you get an ad, a preview for Wolverine before the actual book drops, and this is still affordable, really affordable. I mean, this was $4, really nice shape, you know, and it's a gorgeous Thor Bronze Age book too. So for you Wolverine fans out there, I think these are great books to pick up. I will grab it every time if I'm finding it in that $10 range. This is probably the best copy I've picked up. So be on the lookout for it. If you're a Wolverine fan and you can't get your hands on 181, I think these books are definitely worth the money. And I think as, you know, things go along and, you know, more speculation with the MCU, when the X-Men will drop, you know Wolverine's a fan favorite and he's going to be in there. So all of these keys related to him, if you can't get your hands on a 180 or a 181, get the 182. Get these ads. There's another Daredevil book. The same thing. Has the Hulk 181 ad. So for a few bucks, grab these books. Can't go wrong. Okay, on to some Batman stuff. Some Silver Age. Got some low-grade Batman books to fill in the round. A lot of these I had, but I couldn't resist them for the prices. This one I did not have. 174. This is Carmen Infantino on the cover. Gardner Fox story and Sheldon Moldoff art. It's low grade. It's from September 65, but it was only $6, and it's in the very good range. So I would say Batman and Detective, probably the only books I steadily collect from DC. I definitely have been trying to piece together a lot of Batman stuff, especially a lot of the 80s stuff, the Light Bronze and the Copper Age stuff that would have been in, you know, the time period when I was collecting as a kid. And I plan to sit down and kind of do a huge binge reading session of the actual floppies. I'm just not a fan of trades, so I prefer to build huge runs out of the dollar bins and then just kind of plow through them. So, but psyched to get some of the Silver Age stuff in there. These I do have, and I've probably shown off in other videos, but again, they were cheap. I couldn't leave them behind. 186, which is definitely a cool Joker cover. Let's see. This is Murphy Anderson on the cover. John Broome story, and again, Sheldon Moldoff art, and it's the first Gaggy the Clown. This is from November 66. It's in a little worse shape, probably in the good range. It's got a lot of tears on it there, but still, it was $6, so I was not leaving that behind. If I'm finding Silver Age Batman for $5-6, yeah, I'm getting it, even in low grade. Same with this, 197. Now this one, the cover's detached, but a very cool Batgirl and Catwoman cover. Let's see who did this. This is, again, Carmen Infantino on the cover, Gardner Fox story, Frank Springer on the art. And again, this was $6, so I had to grab it. And finally, for the Batman stuff, another book I have, 212, which I believe is the final 12-cent issue. Love the black background, very cool. This is Irv Novick cover and art, and Frank Robbins on the story from June of 69. So yeah, I believe summer of 69 is the 15-cent cover start. This is a nice mid-grade book in the fine range, and this was, again, only $6. I think they were pricing a run of low-grade stuff, and then occasionally these, you know, better quality books get mixed in. So you can find these books at the shop, you know. Again, if I'm finding any Silver Age superhero themed stuff, if I'm finding it for $5, it has to be completely shredded and not a key if I am not buying it. Okay, these I thought were really hysterical. I don't typically look for this title, but you know, I'd kind of pick through a lot of their stuff, so I moved my way over to this title and was using the Key Collector app. It's World's Finest. You know, I'll kind of handpick out a couple that I think are neat. This is 142, which is the first appearance of Composite Superman, which I just thought was funny. It's like a half Batman, half Superman. I don't find these World's Finest covers to be the best covers. They're kind of bland compared to a lot of the Marvel stuff in the same time period. There's not much going on in the background. But I do find the themes to be hysterical. So this is in really sharp condition, very fine range. I think the pages are gorgeous inside. And it was like, this was $7. So Kurt Swan on the cover, Jack Schiff story, and Sheldon Moldoff art. So I just thought it was funny, the idea of Composite Superman. So I had to pick it up. And given the condition and the price, that was a no-brainer for me. Now this one I thought was hysterical. I don't do a ton with social media. I don't keep up to date with what's hot on the internet, what's hot for, you know, memes or whatever, if I'm saying that right. But I saw it on a key collector, and I had to look at it. I had to get it. This thing is hysterical to me. I have it open because I got to show off the panel, but it is World's Finest 153. Also looks really sharp. Same deal. It was $7. Kurt Swan cover, Edmund Hamilton story. This one's not in as good a shape. I think one of the staples is detached. It looks like very fine, but I think the cover is detached at one staple at the bottom, I think, which I didn't catch, but I still had to get it because this book is hot because of, or this book is a key rather, because there's one panel that I guess has become a meme on the internet. And I mean, I laugh out loud every time I see it. Let me find it here. Let me find it. I'm sure some of you already know what it is. I'll try and be delicate with it here. But Robin mouths off to Batman here, and Batman just flat out slaps him across the face, which I think is absolutely hysterical. I had to get it for that. Batman just calling him a brat and just bitch slapping him. Too funny. So for $7, I absolutely was taking that home. And those books like that, I just think that subject matter is hysterical, and I just have to buy those weird, quirky DC things. Yeah, so funny. So psyched to get that. Let me put the tape back on. That one's a riot. So, all right, on to some Marvel stuff. They put out some Strange Tales, which I don't know what it is as I've gotten back into comics. Something about the Doctor Strange and Strange Tales run. So, this is probably later in the Strange Tales, kind of getting within, nearing when it transferred to Doctor Strange, but it's Strange Tales 150. Gorgeous covers. I just love the colors on all these books. So my notes are all jumbled here because I'm not sure. Ooh, so it's a Bill Everett cover, and I think on the Nick Fury story, it's John Buscema with his first artwork at Marvel, and Stan Lee and Kirby. Stan Lee, man, I got my notes all messed up. There's a lot of things going on between both stories. I try to jam in too much, but it's the first John Buscema artwork at Marvel, and it's the first Umar, which is Mephisto's sister. This is gorgeous, fine copy, and again, it was $7, so beautiful. And sorry, I kind of got my notes all jumbled. I couldn't tell who did which story. It's, you know, obviously it's Strange Tales, so it's got a Nick Fury story and a Doctor Strange story. All right, next one I had to pick up, and this one's fantastic. 151. Now, this one is first Jim Steranko artwork in Marvel. So this is Steranko and Kirby on the cover, and Lee and Kirby, I think, on the Nick Fury story, and Stan Lee and Bill Everett on the Doctor Strange story. I think, again, my notes are, I try to cram in way too much here on my notes, but it's from December 66. Again, beautiful, mid-grade, fine copy. Look at the colors. Absolutely gorgeous. And this was $8. $8? Yeah, $8. How are you not getting it? First Jim Steranko artwork in Marvel. Gorgeous. Gorgeous stuff for $8. So psyched to get that. Something about these Strange Tales covers. They're just all just so beautiful. All right, now this one has definitely picked up some steam with MCU spec and Cosmic Marvel speculation. This is 157. I have not found this before. This is the first cameo of the Living Tribunal. Steranko story cover and art on Nick Fury and Stan Lee and Murray Severin on the Doctor Strange story. Again, Steranko on this cover. It's fantastic. This was $6, and this is a solid, very good find, probably close to the fine range. So beautiful for $6. Can't believe I found that for $6. I don't know what it was that they put these all out there. Real cheap. And again, 158. I think I've got 3 or 4 of these now. And this one's gorgeous. This is probably the best one I have. The reds absolutely pop. 158 is a first full Living Tribunal. Marie Severin on this cover. Steranko story and art on the Nick Fury story. And then you get Roy Thomas and Marie Severin on the Doctor Strange story. Again, this was very good find, I think I put it as. And from here, it definitely looks like it's more in the fine range. This was $6. So, and this book goes for way more than that. I keep finding these cheap, but this one was a steal. Yeah, can't believe they put that out for for $6. I was joking with the shop owner that he put out a whole bunch of Strange Tales real cheap. And when I told him, like, oh, you have the first Living Tribunal. He's like, that's not a key. I'm like, yeah, that's a key. That's an expensive key now. Like, that's all right. Keep putting it out there. All right, last one. 164. This is the first Yandroth. I don't even know who that is, honestly. Dan Adkins cover and art. Jim Lawrence. And Dan Adkins' story, and this was only $5, and again in the fine range. Gorgeous, gorgeous cover. So I don't think I had any of these other than the 158, which I've been grabbing multiples of when I can find it. So psyched to have those. Something about these covers from Strange Tales are just gorgeous. I can't get enough of them. So okay, so last four. These are the books I ponied up for. The books I paid some pretty good money for. This book has gotten hot again. MCU spec. I have one. I feel like I bought this a couple years ago before it really became anything. And I'm not sure if it's this issue. I think I tape pulled it. My early days of getting back into collecting, being lazy and not taking the tape off. I got to double check. I think it was this issue. So always take the tape off the bag, guys. Avengers 43. This is not the tape pulled version. I think I have a much lower grade copy that I did it to. Embarrassing, I know, but I'm sure all of you have been there. Avengers 43, first appearance of the Red Guardian. Very cool John Buscema cover, interior art as well. I think this is a Roy Thomas story from August of '67. Really solid mid-grade copy, and I paid for this. This was $50. So, but I think that was under fair market value for what this is going for. Back when I first got it, it was really a minor key. $10 I probably paid for it, if that is my guess. So very funny what these movies will do. For me, I don't know much about the Red Guardian. I see this kind of as being one of those books to kind of, if you got it, unload it right before the Black Widow comes out, because I don't see books like that staying up there in value. It's not like it's a huge character, but still, beautiful cover though. Love the reds, and I love the kind of indigo background changing in tone. It is really gorgeous. So psyched to get a second copy. And all right, on to the really good stuff here. A couple of Spidey books I've been wanting. I've looked at this so many times and I don't pull the trigger because it's pricey. So finally got a better deal on it. It is an early Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man 27. Gorgeous cover with the Green Goblin. Anything with the Goblins, very pricey. This is from August of '65. Death of Crime Master, and of course it's Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. This is low grade, probably good, very good range, but that's kind of what I'm hunting for these, so they're affordable. So it was, again, they gave it to me for $50, so I was definitely psyched with that. Very tough to get some of these early ASM books into your collection. They are all big money. Next one, very happy about this. This is just a space holder here, but Amazing Spider-Man number 17, which is the second appearance of the Green Goblin. Again, the first appearance is crazy expensive. Cover is beautiful, looks great, super low grade. It is incomplete. There's, I think, 1 or 2 panels cut out. I did go through, I read this. It does affect the story, you can still follow along, but it's an incomplete copy. But I got it for, I thought, a really fair price, even with the panel cut out. I got it for $65, which, hey, for me, this book goes for a lot of money online. Tough to find. So I was happy to get one that presents as nicely as it does, even though, again, it is incomplete. So just happy to have it. Again, gorgeous Ditko cover and art and Stan Lee story. So psyched to get that. All right, and the final book. I've been wanting to pick this up, but this book is just through the roof. Anything Silver Surfer related. Finally got one, and this is super low grade. Also incomplete because the back cover is torn off. But, for the price, I was able to work with them and get it cheaper. Presents okay. It's definitely beat up. Could use a little cleaning, but, there's no back cover. It's Origin of Silver Surfer, first Shalabal, first appearance and origin of the Watchers. And this was $75. So Stan Lee on the story and John Buscema on the cover and art. So cool book. I have not read this yet. Again, this one's crazy expensive. It's always a few $100 when I see it now. Kicking myself because probably the very first year I got into this, one of my shops, I swear they had this for $20 back then. This book was, the Silver Surfer run was, not pricey at all back in 2015, 2016. It's just insane how much these books can jump if you do not get them at the right time. When these movie announcements come out, they go nuts. And I don't know how much these things will go down. I have a feeling stuff like the Silver Surfer, because, you know, I don't know. Who knows? So I'm just glad to get a cheap copy. I'm not in a hurry to replace it. I'm just glad to have a copy of it. So, all right, 25 minutes, not too bad. I was hoping to go shorter than that, but the stack was too big. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you do, again, please like, subscribe, you know, leave some comments below. As always, guys, happy hunting to everyone out there. Take care.